Your healthy community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.
Good evening, I'm Toni May. Thank you for joining us. Each week here, we talk about people and programs that are making your neighborhood a healthier place to live. Tonight, our focus is on education, but not that taking place inside the school, but after school hours. Welcome my guests with me. Hello, Victor Rivera from Boys and Girls Club of Palm Beach County. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Daphne Wikolopoulos, who is a local author. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
And Johnny Bennett, you are with the Del Rey Achievement Centers for Children and Families.
That's correct, and thank you for having me.
Thank you all three for joining us. Thank you so much. First, we're going to start, most parents, I think, know about after-school programming. Most grandparents probably heard of it, but some may not know what I'm even talking about when I say after-school programming. So, Victor, Boys and Girls Club, certainly a leader in the field. Tell me what that is exactly.
Well, basically, our after-school program begins at 2 o'clock and runs to 8 o'clock. Some of our clubs are open until 9. So we keep our clubs open when our kids need us most. They're out of school, they might be home unsupervised, and parents are able to bring their kids into a safe environment.
And when we're talking about safe environment, Johnny, it's not just, there's fences, there's doors, there's people, adults there. It's also really good curriculum, both academically, maybe athletically, socially.
Yeah, and those are some of the things that we focus on in our after-school program. Again, just to kind of piggyback off of Victor, is that our program starts again at 2 o'clock and it ends at 7, but we also have adult education until 8 o'clock at night. We have a lot of academics that we provide. We specialize in basically reading and writing. We've hired what we call a reading specialist. And that reading specialist, a certified reading specialist, certified teacher, that basically comes out and teaches a program that we call AVID. AVID is Advancement via Individual Determination. And this program is designed to teach the kids how to study, how to write, how to read for content, understanding what you've read. But most of all, while doing all that, it teaches them how to manage their time.
I could actually use that program, especially the time management.
Yeah.
Daphne, you kind of got involved because you obviously run a magazine, but you also recently wrote a book. But you did come to this country not knowing English.
That's true.
And having many of these kids we're talking about English is not their first language. These Boys and Girls Club and Del Rey Achievement are in neighborhoods that aren't predominantly white.
Yes.
And from this country. Tell me something like this. You've volunteered, and we're going to see the story in a minute. How do you as a parent think this is important?
Well, I think we all know that the after school hours are when children tend to get into trouble because they have all this idle time. So I believe in after school programming. I believe that it's really important to give them good constructive things to do during those hours. But at the same time, because of my own personal background, having come to this country, like you said, without any knowledge of English and having to assimilate in a culture that was very different from my own, I understand where some of these kids are coming from. So it was a two-pronged approach for me.
And I want to make this clear. We're not talking about babysitting. This isn't, I mean, I happened to go to Boys and Girls Club when I was young, and it was not babysitting. You have different classes. You could take both for bolstering reading and writing, but there was cooking. I'm imagining today there's a lot of computer technology classes.
Yes, the impact of formula that we have is that we'll provide a numbers of areas. We want our kids, when they leave the club, to have values and attributes in education, career development, health and life skills, Obviously, computer skills are very important, but we want to make sure that, you know, when our kids leave, they're good, productive citizens.
Now, Johnny, there's obviously people you hire, but Daphne and others come into your classrooms and kind of share their experience, which isn't necessarily a classroom experience, more of a world experience or their career experience.
Yeah, and one of the things, Daphne recently was at her school, and she read to the kids. And the kids really, really enjoyed it. Those are some of the things that we like to try and bring in, you know, people like Daphne. And what we try to do is try to ensure that these kids are having fun. You know, I think that that's one of the keys. We've got to make sure that they're having fun. The kids have been in school for at least 6 to 7 hours. You know, and when they come to us, we have them probably another 3 to 5 hours, depending on when the parents pick them up. So we have to ensure that they're having fun in our after-care program.
In order for it to work,
in order for it to work, you know, we also provide a lot of clubs: photography, video production, ceramics. One of the things that they like also is basically making of jewelry.
Oh, really?
Airbrushing. So we provide a lot of clubs, you know, so that they may have fun, but we also have fun with our academics also.
Well, you mentioned, you set me up here, you mentioned Daphne was in the classroom with some of the older children, and we want to give you a look at what we're talking about when we're talking about that hands-on approach.
I'm here to talk to you today about writing.
Daphne Wikolopoulos knows what it's like to be shy about expressing yourself in words. She came to this country not knowing any English, but that didn't stop her from pursuing her dream of being a writer.
The story was actually about a place I'd been to.
The author's first published novel is inspired by her life as a travel writer and took years of research.
It brings together all the things that I love. I love ancient themes. Being from Greece, I grew up around the ancient world and the modern manifestation of the ancient world, and the concept of mythology and whatnot. And so ancient themes have always been very special to me.
Daphne wants to prompt these students to keep reading and writing, especially in the time of quick texts and tweets.
Writing is a form of art, and when you engage in art, when you create something, whether it's a piece of music or a piece of art or a work of literature, you are creating something. And when you create, it is the ultimate self-expression.
She shared with the teenagers that even though she has years of experience, a good story takes time and dedication.
It's a lot of effort, and bringing it all together is not simple, but it's very rewarding in the end.
These young, aspiring writers say they are thrilled with the visit by a real author.
I can relate to that because I want to try to be adventurous and like relate to things early in life so I can actually find out who I am and enjoy life as a successful person.
Some good questions, wow. You know, better questions than I get at some of my book signings, I have to tell you.
Daphne, I know the day after we did that story, you went back to the classroom. Tell me about that.
Well, that was very intriguing because the day I was there to give them a little bit of background about myself and to read from my book and tell them a little bit about my story, I also gave them an assignment, and that was a writing assignment. I gave them a photo that wasn't cut and dry. It was just a photo of two people standing against the wall. It could be anybody, anywhere. And I told them that it was completely open to interpretation, and I wanted them to tell the story of what's happening here. And I just wanted them to be creative, told them that there was no right or wrong, and any approach they decided to take was completely fine. So then I went back, and they had written their little stories and read them out loud, and we critiqued each other, said what we liked and didn't like. And I thought that was a valuable exercise, not only because the kids used their creativity and wrote the story, but also because they put themselves out for criticism from their peers and from an instructor who, you know, obviously is in the business. And that was, I think, something great that they could take away. I mean, something that they could learn, but also a great self-development in, you know, putting themselves out for criticism and being able to accept that and grow from that.
And that's, you bring up a great point, because one of the things I read about after school programming, the studies across the country that have been done is socially, Victor, they also, as you said, help these kids. It's not just academically across the board they do better in school if they're in good quality after school program. But they say behaviorally and socially kids who are in these kind of organized programs also do well. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, that's correct. About 90% of our parents have told us that through the Boys and Girls Club, their kids have been able to develop better social skills and are more interested in civics and community involvements. So we believe that is true, but we believe that that's a relationship that our members have with our staff. The key thing that we keep seeing with our kids is that 85% of them have told us that the reason they come to the Boys and Girls Club is because they're having fun, but because they've met an adult mentor that they like, and that's one of the reasons.
And I think that's a good point. All three of you, obviously, you don't do this because you're become rich and famous. So how is that? I mean, tell me about the relationships, you know, you have built with these kids, and especially, Johnny, I think the teenagers, which is what, you know, I saw in the classroom with Daphne. I was quite frankly surprised at how enraptured they were. They were very, you know, engaged while we were there. And I thought, you know, it would be more like sit in your seat, you know, because everyone wants to go out and play football. I mean, is that?
Well, no, and that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to continue to find ways to teach our kids how to learn, you know, how to keep them engaged, you know, but also how to debate. You know, one of the things that we do is that we have one of our games that we play. We maybe take a current subject from a newspaper, you know, and then we take a current subject, we try to debate that current subject. Just this week, we debated a subject of, in the United States, do you think that it's fair for the United States to censor music? Now, what we would do with that, we take 4 corners, get them in 4 corners, and they get into groups. You have your pros and your cons. What is it? What would it be, or what should it be? What should it be, or what it shouldn't be? Okay. And the thing is, you have pros and cons, nothing but sticky notes. The kids are not allowed to talk. They put their sticky notes up. They put whether they should or whether we shouldn't censor music. Now they will continue to rotate until they get back to their station, the first station. Then they will start to debate that those items.
And have you seen, I guess, individual stories where, you know, a child came in, maybe wasn't very social, wasn't very acclimated to the environment, and now they're kind of a leader?
Yeah, we see that all the time. We see members coming in, and after a couple of weeks at the clubs, they open up and they're bright and shining stars. We believe that kids that stay at our club, especially if they make it to the teenage, we have a rate of about 93, 97% kids that graduated, they stay in the Boys and Girls Club.
That's great. That's awesome. I mean, to me, that's what it's about.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. The thing is, what we focus on is ensuring that our kids on target to go to the next grade level or be promoted to the next grade level. We also focus on target on our kids being able to on time to graduate, but also making sure that they are college ready.
College ready. And Daphne, I think that kind of brings it back to when you did come to school here in the US of A, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah. So did you take part in anything like this when you were in middle school, high school, elementary school?
Not really. It wasn't something that was available.
Right.
You know, at least where I was going to school, which was in Central Florida. That's where my family emigrated. And I didn't really take part in it, but I can see how something like that would have been valuable, especially for somebody from a foreign culture, because it just helps you, you know, learn more quickly and assimilate more quickly.
And as an author every day, not just your book, but every day, how important to you, and as a mother especially, is the basic skills of reading and writing?
Oh, it is absolutely vital. I think that from a societal standpoint, literacy is important because it helps you, whether you're an adult or a child, it helps you understand your world so much more. I mean, you not only by understanding current events, being a more educated voter, a more educated community activist, and an advocate for yourself and your family, but also I think that there are statistics that tie low rates of literacy to crime, for example. So from a societal standpoint, it's vital. From a personal standpoint, it's vital as well. Reading expands you. It expands your horizons, and writing expresses you, and those two things are absolutely important in just I think becoming a better and a more educated person.
And on that note, programs like these, and when we hear about education cuts over and over and over again, we're not talking about district here because both y'all are private nonprofits. What does it take to keep programs like this vital? I know volunteers like Daphne who come in, community leaders who support it, but really what does it take? The community, donations, I mean, kind of in the last few minutes here, you know, talk about that.
Well, it takes a little bit of all of that, you know. It takes the community, it takes the community leaders, you know, it takes our parents, most of all the parents. They have to be involved, you know. Without them, you know, we just don't have a good system. You know, and the thing is, we just have to make sure that our parents are involved at all times.
Is that a challenge?
Somewhat. You have to remember now that our parents are working parents.
Exactly.
You know, so
and many of them working long hours.
Many of them are working long hours. So the fact is that we have them that amount of time is that we have to put a lot of focus on our kids. So, but yes, they're basically working parents, and we do a fantastic job when we are working with our kids.
And nationally, obviously, you have a national brand, so you have a little more help behind you, quite honestly. But even at that level, is it a struggle some days, just making the community aware of how vital programs are?
It could be at some times, but as you said, we have a strong brand. We're probably one of the best recognized youth development agencies in the country and in the state of Florida. And we have a good team of people that go out and do a good job for us.
And parents, I mean, crucial, grandparents. I know we have a lot of grandparents watching, whether it's aunts, uncles, grandparents, you know, their own relative, adult mentor. How important is that beyond the walls of your club?
It's quite important. We've developed a family liaison program, so we've hired staff in all our clubs that directly work with parents after school, and it has to be a connection. What we do at our club has to be reinforced at home.
Exactly. On that note, I want to leave because it does take a village to build, and I appreciate everything you all are doing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I am going to now put up the information for the two different programs we talked about, because if you, your child, your grandchild wants to get involved, I want you to have the information. So here it is, and we're going to be back in just a moment. Our next guests are going to tell us about a nonprofit that is built solely on one woman's dream. Welcome, Sharon Gill, founder of Oasis Compassion and chairman of the board. Nice to see you.
Same here, Toni.
And Susan Warmington, you're the executive director of Oasis Compassion. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Sharon, it is your dream, I referenced. Tell me how Oasis Compassion started and is what it is today.
Well, you know, Toni, about 9 years ago, I had a vision to do something for my community. I was working at a law firm at that time, and I really felt that there was something more to life than making money. And I just saw the needs in the community, excuse me, and after a period of just like self-introspection, I decided to open a small food pantry at the back of a church that I was attending, about 200 square feet of space. And my initial clients were the homeless, the working poor, and I started out really small, but within about 9 months, I was given an anonymous donation for $25,000, which I took and opened a retail spot in the Green Acres. And over the last 9 years, I should say, it's grown to about 4 locations. Right now, we have a food pantry, huge. We have a thrift store. We have a career center, and we just opened a women's center. What our mission is to really empower the less fortunate, to give them a chance to get back on their feet. It's not a handout, it's really a hand up. And that's what I like about it.
And Susan, when you say not a hand out, a hand up, I mean, the people who come to you, a lot of them are women. I know you really, in the beginning anyway, a lot of women were your focus group.
We still have a lot of women. We find that probably 70% of our families, a woman is the head of the household. Wow. So we want to, instead of enable her, we want to empower her. So everything we do is to give her dignity and to teach her that next step.
When you talk to, and I know you both talk to these women, you don't just write a check. What are the stories you hear? Is there a common thread how they ended up, perhaps homeless or struggling?
Well, we have stories ranging from domestic abuse, incest, you name it, just struggling. And we have seen the demographics have changed over the past 9 years, I have to tell you. At first, it was the immigrant. At first, it was the really impoverished. Now we're having just women who have just lost jobs. So we've been actually seeing a whole demographic shift to women who are just really struggling to make ends meet. And but yes, there is the domestic abuse. I mean, that's still rampant. We have a counseling person on staff right now. We have a biblical counselor as well as a mental counselor who volunteers. And that's been a big help for our program.
And I know the Women's Center was a dream of yours and of the organization's. Susan, what takes place there? I mean, why a Women's Center? Why was that even necessary?
Well, again, you know, women who are struggling, and we have a lot of men, so we're excluding them, but women who are struggling, they forget about themselves. Their every day is just such a deep struggle. They have depression. They have to get their kids to school to feed them. They don't have transportation, so they're the last person on the chain of what they have to do. So we tried to make a place that would make them feel better about themselves. We offer Bible studies, biblical counseling. We offer mentor groups there, and we're offering a new program called IFFF, I-F-F-F. And it's investing in your future, your finance, and your finishing. And it's going to be a 4-week program where we take these women and really teach them basics. If you are just in this place, your life is so disorganized. So we're going to start with organizational skills.
Okay, I want to go to that. You don't need to be in trouble to not be organized. Let me just make that point.
So it'll start with organizational skills, and we're going to go to basic finance, doing a budget. These women just do not know how to do a budget, so we're really going to go on a budget. Then we're going to go to kind of a food. You get pantry food. You get a lot of bread and pastry. How do you not get diabetes? How do your children not get fat? How do you feed your children healthy from this? Where do you add the fruits and vegetables? More importantly, where do you buy them?
Exactly.
And the last one is going to be all about the woman herself. We're going to take our thrift store clothing, pull them apart, and make it more pertinent to their lives today so that they can look good. You don't have to wear an outfit from the 50s.
Now, Sharon, I know when I first met you, part of helping, this kind of help that you give, is self-responsibility. Your clients have to, you know, try to get a job, try to get a GED wherever they are in life. Is that still part of the mission?
It's actually mandatory because, you know, people's basic need is food, and we understand that. But we ask them to invest in themselves as well. And we offer job counseling, job placement, career counseling, several classes and workshop, and we actually tie it into the program. So if you, for example, just want to have food and not invest, we're not a program for you. Because if you do not show up for your classes, we will suspend your food unless you have a really good explanation, because we are not there to enable you. We're really there to empower you. So that's still a big part of our program. As a matter of fact, it's a central part of our program is our job counseling and our career, you know, just our career help.
So on the other side of that, you're getting people ready for jobs. How is the other side of that? Local employers, are they supportive of hiring your people that you've trained? Are you involved in the community? Because if you have skilled employees, you got to have somewhere for them to get a job.
Absolutely, and I'm involved with several chambers of commerce, and I network a lot. And part of our job counselor's job is to actually solicit local businesses to, you know, to form work out to. We have a lot of volunteers as well whose job is just to stay on the internet and find jobs. We give all our clients an email address. We also allow them to come to our agency to look up their emails. We have a computer lab, so they have free access. So we make it really easy for them to get on their feet. We also do interview skills workshops. I mean, we really invest in these folks. So when they leave our program, they really have been given the tools to take that next step.
And go ahead, Susan.
And we even dress them. If
I was
they have a
gonna say,
job,
I know that's
if
a
they
big
have
part.
a job interview, we not only dress them from the thrift store, but the best of the job interview clothes. We have a now special little closet. They come in, and we want to send them out there looking their best, being prepared, just really, and that is a really big, intricate part of our program. Also, our program, everyone that is in it for the 6 months gets 3 pieces of clothes per person per month. Last year we gave out 8,000 pieces of clothing.
Wow. Now, and I want to not demean that. You know, people watching might think, how important is looking nice? You know, shouldn't you give them a little more food? I have to say, I have been at your program and others where women have felt nothing about themselves. They felt totally worthless. And a simple caring, like you girls in your fashion sense, you know, putting together an outfit, I know you have makeup volunteers that come and help these women and do their hair. And it will bring tears to your eyes, obviously, when you watch the transformation, not just fashion, but inside these women. And that's my lead into, you do this at a luncheon, which is really one of the main ways people watching can help. So tell me a little bit about the upcoming luncheon.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because you'd asked why the Women's Center. And about 7 years ago, I began having this Dream Makeover luncheon. And we would take 3 women from the program who were really downtrodden, who just was out of hope. And we would, over a period of about 3 to 4 months, really invest in their goals, invest in their appearance. We would get partners to work with us with their hair, their makeup, like you said, their clothing, but really the inner person. And at the luncheon that we hold, they would be revealed. They're like the swan, and they're actually the main speakers. And it's amazing to see the transformation from what they come through the door as and what they are at the end. And that was really where my vision for the Women's Center came, because we were doing 3 women like this, and I thought if we could do 300 a year, what a transformation it would be on our community. And so we're really excited about our upcoming luncheon on the 21st. And we have anything exciting planned, Susan?
Well, we have, this year it's kind of going to be a metamorphosis. So we're talking not only the metamorphosis of our clients and from where they started to where they are, but we're also going to have a plastic surgeon speaking about new ways without plastic surgery to look and feel your best for women. We're having a fashion show. Sharon will be speaking just about her vision. So it's going to be a very exciting luncheon. It's at Breakers West on April 21st.
Well, we want people to definitely take part. And what I want to leave people watching with is, it's really important to me that this isn't just some woman that you've never heard of. I mean, especially, you made the point, in today's economy, this could be your next door neighbor who unfortunately was a single mom, maybe divorced. The ex doesn't have a job anymore, so can't pay his child support legitimately. And she didn't have a big income on her own. I mean, I want to make this point that you all are helping what could have been me or one of my other friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has really been a significant change in the sea of faces that we've been seeing for the past 3 years. And, you know, and as Susan made a point, it's not just women. We have a lot of men, too, especially with the construction business went out of business here in Florida. I mean, that was a big impact on our agency as well, because now the men were coming in, and with men it's a little bit different. They have a self-esteem issue, and so they don't like begging food. They were there for the job. So our job placement program really boomed when they started coming to the agency. So we have a lot of guys as well. But women remain the majority for sure.
Well, I want to give time to give the information about the luncheon. Thank you both for what you do. Congratulations. Here's that information. I encourage you to take part in the Dream Makeover Luncheon, because it will bring tears to your eyes and you'll be doing a great thing. Here's that information. We're going to say good night, and we'll see you again next time right here. Until then, stay healthy. Good night.
Your Healthy Community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.